Hello, and welcome to another episode of Third Action. I'm your lovely host, Jason, and these are the same three historians that, that were here last week. In the bottom left, we have Asher Ford, Human Ranger, played by Char. Did Kennedy just jump
on me and
The timing was perfect there, wasn't it?
Oh, come here. There he is.
There he is.
Aw.
Hey, there's a Kennedy.
He didn't quite make it the first.
Want to be up.
In the bottom middle, we have Greshy Ironroot, Halfling Druid, played by Will.
It's going to throw me every time.
And in the bottom right, I hope I said bottom middle for the prior one. In the bottom right, we have Gunn, Shough, Human Champion of Erastil, played by Adam.
Evening, everybody.
All right, and last time on Third Action, our group of intrepid adventurers made their way to the secret path that would lead them towards the summit of the mountain Mahard Massif, where they hope to have some kind of final confrontation with the evil Runelord of Greed, Karzug the Claimer. It is at the entrance to this path, which happens to be some kind of old museum, that they encountered the golem, a keeper and seeker of knowledge for the why am I blanking on the name right now?
Akashic Record.
Akashic Record, thank you. It is there. They also did a little bit of reading of some plaques from some old exhibits before they made their way down into the tunnels. And having now bid their farewells to Morgiv, the spared who had been assisting them throughout their stay in Lower Shalast, they embarked into the tunnels to make their way up. So I guess from there, it's all you guys. What do you want to do?
Doors.
My sheet.
Getting everything open and ready. Did you think there would be more information back in the museum that would be helpful in dealing with Karzug?
I always love a history lesson.
I don't have any reason to think that there would be, except maybe the story about him and his teacher.
Right, the one who the portrait was all sorts of
The one
damaged.
he really hates, who he killed.
I mean, we could look into it.
Tried to kill him.
Tried to kill him first, or
I think so.
wonder
Well,
why.
according to his museum, I could have been.
Fair point.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know we just
left, but
we just
go
left.
back.
I'm kind of thinking we may want to go back and look a little bit more. Just, I know that strange golem thing was looking at the books, but there's all sorts of other stuff that was looted. But
We could also, we could ask him. He might know more.
oh,
of that
that's true.
story,
We could ask him if he knows much about Karzug.
if he's still there.
We've not been gone for that long. It's only been a few minutes.
Yeah, it still
Yeah.
could have just poofed out.
Sure. Let's
You
go
guys
find out, I suppose.
Basically been walking for about 5 minutes in the tunnel when you have this conversation and decide to just turn right back around and
Yeah.
just about to get to move on as we think about.
There are people waiting for us. But
I mean, a trip to the museum is not going to hurt us.
Morgiv is not here.
No, we did let him leave first, so it wasn't this awkward situation. Told you we were leaving, then we come right back.
So yeah,
We've done that
you,
before.
Return to the path. You can see the big rug with the Rune of Greed there before you. The pathway, the stairs lead up now to just kind of a solid wall. But if you look carefully, you can see a lever beside the stairs.
Can I take a look and just double check that there aren't any strange traps or anything in this direction?
Sure. Perception.
If this was
check.
secret, there may be some way that they were keeping things secret. So nice perception check. Question marks.
Right. Okay.
It's supposed to be secret.
Yeah, you look at the big rug on the floor and everything around here. It all seems fairly mundane. The only thing that's like obviously magical of any note are the torches on the walls, glowing green, clearly with some kind of perpetual flame.
Hmm.
Still walk around the rug.
Yeah.
Where was this lever you said?
There's one on the side. Asher's walking around towards it, but it's just
Okay.
on the side of the stairs.
Well, whoever gets there first, I suppose.
This lever. Asher will pull it. Not a bad
You pull the
feeling.
lever.
Pull the lever.
And there's a whirring of gears, and the stair, or sorry, the roof above the stairs like lowers and then splits apart, revealing the passageway into the chamber that you were in before.
All right. Well, let's go see if the golem's still about, and
Climb over the rail.
Climb back up.
just go take a look real quick.
Moved the wrong person.
Oh, thank you for coming with me, Gunn, so I can actually see things.
Yeah, you make your way back up the stairs into the ruined kind of main exhibit hall. The
Before I get
portraits
too
of
far,
the
what was...
former Runelords glaring down at you.
Well, it was over here, right? That the previous Runelord's portrait was slashed and damaged?
Yes, the immediate previous Runelord's portrait is right here in the room.
Okay.
All of the portraits along the wall were the previous Runelords. And one of them is it's all the previous Runelords of Greed, and one is actually of Zin himself.
Oh.
The founder of rune magic.
And this one that was damaged before, what was the name on the placard again?
The name
or was their name on the placard?
Yes, it is Haframa. Haphrama.
Haframa.
There is a small placard underneath it.
Do we have any spells that could disguise people?
Disguise people?
Or
Yeah, it could be
project an
animal.
image of a person?
Did I
Disguise
have
people as another person?
Did I have access to today? No, I
Not-
don't believe so.
Necessarily today. I'm thinking for the final
general?
confrontation.
Um,
3 Haframas walk into the...
Oh.
that would be an interesting way to throw him off his game. I will take a look at my spells and see if I have something like that. Illusion's not really my game, but I might have something. See what I can do.
I know we push it a little bit, but remember that one of your paladin oaths is not to lie.
I didn't say lie.
A deceit is not the same as a lie.
Yeah, an illusion that looks like
And
someone.
for that matter, it's not. If there's 3 of them walking in, I don't think Harzuk's going to really be deceived or anything.
I'm not saying I would go in and say, "Hi, my name is Haframa, former Runelord of Greed."
Underhanded battle tactics, perhaps, but even that I'm not sure about. Well, I've got a name at least we can inquire about. Is there enough of the portrait here to get an idea of what Haframa looks like, even though?
No, the portrait itself is actually very small. Give me a perception. Give me a perception check.
Oh, sure.
A
Do
secret
you want this
one?
blind as well?
Yes, please.
Will do.
Let's see what you see about it. You notice that the portrait the fading and the kind of damage on the portrait seem somewhat like normal for time, and clearly the damage that's been done here. Unlike the portrait of Karzug, it seems to not have a spell of protection on it, so it may have been intentionally stripped of that protection if there originally was some. You can tell that the other portraits are all crafted. It seemed like they maybe were painted in the lifetime of those particular Runelords. Like these seem like life painting portraits. Like the Runelord was there. They're not like hypothetical. And you looking at the just kind of the way the frame is shaped, it almost looks like it's been like intentionally shrunk. Like it's, you wonder to yourself if the portrait itself was like shrunk via like a shrink spell. The dimensions seem very, very tiny for how detailed the frame itself is, and even the pigment.
Diminished, damaged, and allowed to be aged. It sounds like Karzu did not like Haframa for some reason. Though, I suppose if Haframa was going to kill him, understandable. But to do this to the memory, it seems like there's something more there. Like it's personal?
Oh, very personal. Clearly.
And the plaque underneath just reads, Disgraced Runelord of Greed, Haframa. 7th Runelord.
Disgraced?
Do you go read the other plaques?
Yeah, I will go read the other plaques.
Sure. You can find, going around the room, obviously, the first Runelord of Greed, Caladerne. I'll give you the kind of Cliff Notes versions of like the little bullet points they've got underneath, but found a builder of Zin Shalast, founder of the House of Divine Consumption. Assassinated by Mistress. Second Runelord of Greed. Sorry, I can spell each of these Runelord names. Let me do that for you. The first Runelord name, I don't remember if I ever wrote these down for you or not. So the first Runelord was Caladerne, Kaladurnae, and that was male. Second Runelord's name was Fethryr, Fethryr. She was female, feminine. Mistress of Caladurnae. Not much else is written about her, but she was around she reigned from 640, or negative 6448 AR to negative 6318 AR. Caladurnae was negative 6480 AR to negative 6448 AR. Next Runelord is Gimmel, Gimmel. He reigned from negative 6318 AR to negative 6192 AR. What's the cliff notes of this one? Champion of Shalast. Greatly expanded the Empire's wealth through trade and commerce. Died suddenly of illness. The fourth Runelord was Lignia, Lignia. She was around or in power from negative 6192 AR to negative 6040 AR. Gimmel's top apprentice, who quickly made allegiances to various factions to prop herself up. Notably made allegiances with the the Lamia and the giants of the Storval Plateau. Alliances which seem to remain till today. Somehow. The fifth Rune Lord was Mazmirana, Mazmiranna. She reigned from negative 6040 to negative 5997 AR. Credited with consolidating the faiths of Lisala and the faith of divine consumption, enhancing the power of greed. She seems to have been a very big religious figurehead. Next up is Aethusa. She is female, Aethusa. She reigned from negative 5997 AR to negative 5862 AR. She is called here the Twice-Born Queen, claimed to be the resurrected, or reborn rather, the reborn Queen of Gluttony. One of the Rune Lords of Gluttony, who shared the same name as her many, many years prior. She was a very notorious warhawk and initiated many of Shalat's initiatives to conquer the southern reaches, which I think were largely Pride territory, Zin Cyrusian, I believe. And then you have Haframa, Haphrama, reigned from negative 5862 to negative 5759. I wrote that weird, but the detail is just disgraced former Rune Lord of Greed attempted to assassinate Karzug. Frama and his apprentice, where's his apprentice's name? Vage, were slain by the great Karzug. And Vage is Vhage, which I think I mentioned last time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the portraits that are around the room. And yeah, most of them are fairly faded. They seem like their enchantments have slowly diminished, but the Karzug one is definitely the one that has the strongest enchantment. And the Haframa one looks like the enchantment was probably removed.
I guess he's the only disgraced one.
Is that picture loose at all?
Which one?
Haframa?
It hasn't been
loose in what sense? Like,
Can we take it down? Can we take it down and bring it with us?
you could try.
I will try.
Before you do, can I double check and make sure there's no weird traps of any sort?
I'll try to take it down without damaging it. So being careful not to.
Okay. Yeah, Greshy, go ahead and give me the perception check first,
Frame
and
is
then
stuck.
secret
Just
perception.
want to make sure we're not getting ourselves into something dangerous already.
Okay.
A little excitement, I suppose.
You take a look at the painting, and it seems like it seems relatively fragile, or at least the painting itself looks like it would probably be pretty fragile, but the frame is made out of some kind of maybe a star metal of some kind. So it seems fairly, the frame itself seems fairly sturdy, if tarnished and a bit rusted. But there doesn't appear to be any kind of traps or anything. It looks like it's just, you kind of put your head close to the wall to check how it's hanging, and it just seems to be hanging on a small hook that's embedded in the wall.
All right. Then let's carefully take that down and stow it in a bag.
Okay. Yeah,
Never
you're
has
able
room.
to. It's a little high up, so you get up on your tippy toes and pull it down carefully. You know.
And
how
are we
they-
talking like an 8x11, or are we talking like a
Yeah.
photo, like wallet size, or a little bigger than wallet size?
a little? Yeah.
The
yeah,
nightstand.
Yeah, the nightstand
Don't know what
size.
size that is. Nightstand.
A little bit smaller than an
Alright.
8x11, somewhere between 8x11 and photo.
Okay. Gotcha. So I'll just call it a light bulk then.
Yeah, I would say light bulk.
Let's go talk with the golem. I have a question to ask him at least.
All right. Sure.
Okay, so you guys make your way over to the golem. I can just warp you guys there if you want.
All right. If you would mind, I'm sorry I was typing stuff.
Sure. Let's see. Fast travel.
Whoosh.
Does that work? Okay. You return to the golem's chambers. This time he is
Mr. Paizo.
not invisible, and he turns to look at you. Oh, you've
How many?
returned.
Let's wait. Do you know the story, or do you know what happened between Karzug and Haframa? What was their relationship? And how did it end?
You're referring to the former Runelord of Greed.
Yes.
The golem puts down the book that it is currently investigating, and thinks for a moment. From all told, they did not have a sour relationship at first. Haframa took Karzug in as an apprentice, and in fact, Karzug was his top pupil. All signs pointed to Karzug eventually taking his place as the Runelord once Haframa was, if Haframa had ever decided to retire or found himself indisposed somehow. Much of Haframa's reign, however, has been erased. Even these books, he says, pointing to, sorry, I say he, it. It's he because I'm using my voice. It says, as it points to some of the books, even these books, I find, have been tampered with. Karzug did not like the man.
Does the Akashic record have no original information? Or no way of restoring the original information?
I am attempting to restore that information as we speak. But it is time-consuming work. I suspect that Karzug
Your pardon.
had some, well, ambitions of his own. When Haframa realized this, well, it seems as if some plan was brought into motion. Whether or not Karzug or Haframa acted first, I cannot say. But the result
Seems like
is...
all these Runelords always have to watch their backs from each other. Even their own friends and circle.
It is the price they pay for drawing power from sin. They know they must have pupils and apprentices. But some traditions, such as sin and envy, are wont to breed sin. Greed and envy are find themselves breeding their own competition.
Exactly. Well, we can kind of assume that we know that that's what happened here, more or less, but the details would be helpful potentially. And one other thing, is there any way you could, say, reproduce a sample of Haframa's voice? Could you? Is there anything like that in the Akashic record?
No.
To hear him.
I don't believe so. The record itself is somewhat chaotic. To access something like a memory requires a link, a physical one, to an object or something that they touched, perhaps, or their body. It is why, it is how
like
memories can be lost to us. It is there, but it is not findable, perhaps.
Huh. So if you had something of his, a personal item, then it might be possible?
Possibly. Perhaps. I have not attempted to do such a thing, but if you wish to hear his voice, that may be the easiest way.
Do we have anything like that?
I don't think so. I'll go through my bag and take a look, but how much that would have been his?
Asher, I don't suppose there's anything in the in there that remembers what he sounded like. Even if there was, you wouldn't have any way to give it to a spellcaster.
Greshy does pull out the Sahedron ring, one of them. If he gave this directly to one of his minions, then they would have he would have talked to them at that point. I don't know if Metal has memory exactly, but
I could consider. I don't know if it's more thoughts or like visions or whatever for the wrath symbol.
Yeah, that's.
I could try and think if I remember what he sounds like.
We've also heard him. I mean, he has talked at us.
Haframa.
Oh, no, Haframa. Sorry, I thought you were talking about
you guys are mixing up Haframa and Karzu.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was mixing that up. Oh, I've got nothing of Haframa's.
In the service of creating a better illusion, if we wanted to walk in with 3 people who look and sound like Haframa, that could certainly potentially enrage Karzug.
Could do. But I've nothing, and unless Asher happens to recall Haframa.
I can attempt to recall.
You attempt, but nobody in your line of people who owned this Wrath rune ever met or heard him speak.
Sorry.
This portrait, this painting, does it predate his death, or was it after?
Good question.
This could be something of his. Perhaps they didn't destroy it because it actually was made by some special means. I don't know. Does this work?
You hand him or you pull the portrait from the bag and hand it to him. The golem looks at it intently. His eyes flash as he casts some kind of spell. And then the flashing of his eyes ceases.
He was present
when this was constructed. His voice is hazy. I'm not sure. Well, I cannot reproduce it myself. But he had a nasally voice. I do not know how to describe it to you.
Okay.
I think just the visual might be enough. We could try mimicking a voice or something, but I think the visual, just us walking in, might be sufficient to throw him off. If it's going to throw him off at all, we have no idea. But I don't suppose this golem has any way of restoring this painting at all.
The golem looks at you.
Do you have a way of restoring paintings, or do you only do text?
I could try. It stares at you.
Looks around. Do we want to let it try, or?
Yeah. I mean,
Alright.
It's already destroyed.
That's true. It's not
What's
the best
the worst
painting.
that could happen?
Everything explodes, but I suppose
Hmm.
that's going to happen anyway. So sure.
We should
Well,
resurrect him and
Would
then
you-
have them fight.
there you go. That's a smart move. Would you try restoring this painting for us, Golem?
Very well.
Please.
It will hold up the portrait, and it will start to kind of float there as he separates his hands, and the arcs of lightning go from the golem's fingertips to the portrait. And it takes a few moments as pigment begins to restore itself. Little particles of dust come kind of like flying towards the painting, attaching themselves to the canvas, and eventually, after a few minutes pass, the golem slowly allows the portrait to land on rest on the desk in front of it. It is still small in size, but there is now the portrait of a man with incredibly pale skin, tight, like narrow, severe eyes with like thick eyebrows, a number of ion stones embedded into his eon stones embedded into his forehead and alongside his cheeks, and a kind of a pointy, like Jafar-esque beard.
So Jafar, but with Aeon stones in his face.
Sure, yeah. Why not?
Got it.
Now, that's a good storage solution for those stones. I didn't think about burying them in my skin.
That's not usually how those work, to my understanding, but I don't know how Aslanti stuff works.
Thinking about it, you've seen all of the statues of Karzug have gems embedded in his forehead.
You know, that's true, isn't it?
Ooh.
Hadn't thought of that.
I can figure out what stones he has.
I was thinking they were decorative, but that's a good point. Can we think about the shape of the stones to infer any sort of information about what kind of powers they might grant him? That might be a bit of a reach since we don't have a statue right here, but that's a good call out.
Yeah, you'd need to maybe see them closer. And there's such a myriad of abilities they could be that it would probably be hard to figure it out.
Oh, sure,
not-
but I'm really good at crafting things, so I might be able to figure this out.
But yes, you could attempt it.
I will see if we can find another statue to actually examine, because I'm a bit hazy in memory to remember them exactly, but can take a look, see if we can glean more information about what he does.
I mean, there's a
We know he
big
does
ass
transmutation.
there's a big ass painting back in the
Oh.
main exhibit hall.
Well, now I feel dumb. I was thinking of statues.
I mean, there's also the statue, the bust of his head in the main exhibit hall as well.
Was that colored?
The painting would have been, though.
Painting would have been
The
colored properly.
yes, the painting was in color.
Oh, I can't see.
Greshy.
I'm going to cast light on myself so I can carry my light around.
You're in the dark.
I noticed. I went to go around the corner. I'm like, I can't see that. Why can't I see? Okay.
I believe you were the one who cast light on Gunn, so let me remove the light from
I
Gunn,
cast it on Gunn, so.
and then put it on you instead. Or you've got it. Okay, cool. Thanks.
I got it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you can. I'll warp you.
Ooh.
Where's Gunn?
Whee!
Fast travel. All right, you fast travel back to the main hall, where you can see the floor is closed up. Do I care enough to?
Oh, okay.
You guys
I-
I'm going to
heard-
stand in the open air.
Can I put this back? Something like that. It's not
Ooh.
going on perfectly.
I love it.
Well, you see,
Oh, there we
it's
go.
it's an old mechanism that's a little bit out of place now, but you know, doesn't get used much.
Okay, the
Hey,
floor is
Stephen.
back in place. You might have heard the soft grinding of stone when you were in the other chamber. But yeah, you return to the main hall. There's the statue of Karzug, like a bust of Karzug in the center of the chamber, but there's also the big-ass portrait of him in color, where the statue is just made of silver, I believe.
Asher, could you give me a lift? I can't see that high up very well.
All right.
I imagine this portrait is a good 10 feet tall or something.
It is. I mean, you could stand
It
back, but sure.
No,
if
I'm
you're just
gonna,
trying to get,
I'm gonna
are you
ask
trying to
for
get
a
close?
hand.
Okay.
I just want to see more detail.
I
close.
lift.
Okay, sure. Yeah, you
Ah.
lift. So this requires me actually seeing if I can. So you can see that he's got 5 ion stones embedded into both his left hand and right hand, each. There's a red stone and 4 green stones on each hand, and the same is true on his forehead. There's a kind of larger red stone and 4 smaller green stones. Give me, I guess, an identify. I guess it would be Arcana or crafting.
As these are magical items, I have
Mhm.
Crafter's Appraisal, which would allow me to use crafting in that case.
Okay. That's
For
what I thought.
identifying magic items.
Okay, so yeah, I would allow crafting. This is. Let me tell you the DC before you do it. He's a level. This would be a DC 50 to try to identify.
I'm not going to make that very easily. Shite. This would not be considered a recall knowledge check, right? Identify magic's different than recall knowledge.
Oh, true. It is not, in fact.
Robes of Inspiration would not apply here. That's fine.
I see.
Unfortunately, neither does my inexplicable apparatus.
Chat is giving you points, however.
There's no way. Oh, are they? I wasn't even looking. I was like, do I just want to take the risk because it's a very big roll? But sure. I've got however many points I've got. Actually, how many do I have? Is it 7?
No, you should be at 9. You're at 9.
9? All right. Then we're throwing all 9 at this.
Okay.
Because I'd like to know more about this jerk face. 9. Add. It's 50-50. See what we get.
That is exactly a 50.
Exactly.
There we go. All right.
With the fake points.
So, taking a closer look at the painting, you try to discern like what these eon stones, eon stones. They're eon stones now. The eon stones
Have been for a decade.
The problem is that I'm looking at the book where they're called Ioun stones over a decade ago.
The old book did have them that way, didn't it?
Yes,
It was back when it was still...
Good old Pathfinder 1. But I like Eon stones better anyway. Sorry. So the Eon stones in his forehead seem to be arranged in a pattern that suggests that they give him bonuses to will saves versus mind affecting effects. Like they're mental fortification stones, boosting his like resistances to like mind control spells.
Makes sense.
The ones in his hands you can't see super well, but they seem like they're fortification. The green ones anyway seem like they're kind of fortification related. You suspect that there might be more underneath his robes, and perhaps they're like placed on like chakra points, perhaps, to increase his vitality and give him additional health.
He would.
You can also see that his skin is like a little bit seems to be portrayed as slightly stone-like. It still looks fleshy, like flesh-toned in certain spots, but other spots look like slightly, like almost like they're petrified slightly. They're given a kind of slightly gray treatment and look a little bit cracked.
Like painful cracked, or is this just kind of a natural effect for his skin?
It looks like the artist was just trying to indicate texture. It's possible that they're painful cracked, but it's hard to tell from... It's a fairly realistic looking portrait, but he's had work.
It's still a portrait.
Yes.
Fair. Well, that's the question I have. It also might relate to if Haframa betrayed him. The manner in which he was betrayed would also be reflected by the defenses he puts up.
Potentially.
So if he's defending against mental effects, it's because he's understandably concerned about enchantment, health, vitality, but this skin effect makes me wonder if he's possibly was or still is suffering from something that Haframa did to him.
Or it could be an intentional hardening of the skin to protect from damage.
That probably makes more sense too, unfortunately.
I figured the will save was from like, isn't lust one of the opposites?
Mm-hmm. Enchantment is...
Both of the opposites are pretty mentally oriented.
Oh, that's true. Illusion is as well, you're right.
So I figured that those might be for that.
That would be defensive. It makes sense.
But will saves against illusions aren't usually... Are illusions considered mind affecting for things
Not
like that?
necessarily, I don't think.
Illusions can be mental, but not the... When you just see an illusion, there's no will save against it. It's like a perception check to notice that it's not real.
Right.
But I think there are some illusion spells like
Phantasmal Killer.
Yeah, Phantasmal Killer is one,
Is that a mind affecting?
Yes, basically anything that's got the mental trait, which Phantasmal Killer does.
Right. Okay.
Do I think illusory object? I don't remember how they tag everything in.
Illusory object is not a mental effect.
Yeah, so a spell like illusory object or something similar is just visual or auditory or something.
Gotcha.
those effects wouldn't there's no factor there. But for something that's actually going in his mind to try to do something, you guess that he's got some bonus there. So you can probably imagine
He may still
any
have
kind
true
of,
vision or something.
yeah, emotion or fear kind of effects are all probably harder to hit against him.
Okay. Daze type.
Yeah, fear especially is going to be unfortunate.
Okay.
Good to know.
Unless it's real fear of something he sees.
Well, I do hope that works. I love the idea that we can hopefully throw him off enough to slip up a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it doesn't affect you for other stuff.
No, plenty
for
of other things.
mundane things.
Asher, can you help? Can I get down now? Is that okay?
Yes, I will
You
put you
mind?
back on the floor. All right, I
This
won't
feels-
just drop you.
It feels very uncomfortable having you lift me up like this, but
I think
okay.
I've done this before. when
I
you
didn't
were-
like it then either.
Oh, never
I
mind.
think are we largely ready to go other than that?
I'm
or
a
do we
grown
want
man.
to
I can stand on my own 2 feet usually.
for the rest of the museum for anything noteworthy.
I want to take a quick look around and see if anything jumps out at me, and hopefully not literally, but then we'll. Mostly,
Maybe-
I'm still looking to see if there's anything that jumps out as being important or being hidden. As strange as it, two opposites, I know, but either something that seems like it's there, he's trying to keep it hidden away, or like Haframa is trying to make it seem like it's not what it is, or something that he thinks is very important has besides himself, obviously, since he's here in the middle and everything.
Okay.
Button.
So there were some exhibits about Karzug himself in the central hall. I believe I said there is. I forget which side I put which, but I guess the left side here, western side, there's a two scale models inside these cases. One is of a city that's just listed called Malistoke, and there's a plaque underneath it, and the other one is of the Storval Deep and the big dam that you guys were in before. And there's plaques under both of those. The ones on the right are one of them. It has some small scale models of what look like massive Karzugs, or like massive like humanoid statues stomping over like a countryside perhaps, and be like attacking some kind of like large towers. The other one has, where is it? Oops, I've closed my notes apparently. One sec. Runelord nets, there we go. The other one is a model of Zin Shalast in its like current state, or not current right now, but it says like modern day Zin Shalast underneath, and seems to talk about the policies of Karzug. If you go off towards the right, to the east, there's an exhibit on Karzug's army and military might. Stop me if you want to like look at any of them in detail.
Before we go on then,
Mhm.
I did actually have a question about Malistoke. What is, you said it was a city?
Yes, it seems to be a city. Do you want to read the
There was a
placard about
model. Yes, I'm not sure. Storvald, we know he's got his head on it. I assume he built the damn thing, but funny joke. But Malistoke, I'm not familiar with. I don't know if we've been there.
Okay. I believe I might have relayed part of this story before, but you start to you go back to the display case that has the Malistoke model in it. And it seems to actually be paired with the Storval Deep model, and you can see they kind of look like they're in the same kind of vague location, or like seem to have the same kind of terrain around them. And the Malistoke one reads some humble beginnings. Karzug was born in the year negative 5836 AR as a nameless slave in service to the Lich Zinlun of Malistoke. Zinlun was the most influential figure of Malistoke and a man whose powerful greed allowed him to accumulate a vast amount of wealth. In his later years, the comfort of his riches turned him to gluttony and sloth, and eventually to lichdom. Karzug himself was a youth of remarkable intellect, and possessed an uncanny thirst for knowledge that was hindered greatly by a life of servitude. He learned to read and write from his fellow slaves, and at the age of 5 began secreting away books and tomes from Zinlun's personal study. By his teenage years, Zinlun took a special interest in the young Karzug and made him his personal servant. In the years that followed, Karzug suffered untold physical and emotional abuse, all the while plotting his escape. The second placard reads, on the same Malistoke display, reads, at the age of 27, Karzug finally had the means and confidence to escape. Through a series of feigned incompetencies, he riled up Zinlun's temper. During his fit, Karzug successfully tricked the Lich into selling him off to one of his associates, a depraved cannibal who went by the moniker Hilbin the Gold Maw. Though he was delivered to Goldmaw's personal chambers naked and in chains, Karzug left the place drenched in blood, clothed in fine silks, and with the eponymous golden teeth in hand. It is said that he sold the teeth to a nearby merchant in exchange for quick passage out of the city. And it seems to continue on the... there seems to be... the story continues on the one about Storval Deep.
And I want to make sure I understand this. And I do want to look at the next placard as the Asher's moving over there. So the same region Malistoke is in it's near, as far as it seems, to Storval Deep.
We've heard the name before.
I'm just wondering.
Fairly confident.
Yes, that's these two images or like displays look like they're of the same location at different times.
Oh, I see. That would be why I don't know about it. He buried it. Well, sank it.
It looks like
gonna go over and
Asher's already over reading the next one. Many years later, during his first year as Runelord, Karzug returned to Malistoke with an army of giants and powerful magic weapons in tow to reduce the city to dust. Survivors from the conflict were brought back to Zinshalast, where they and their descendants were able to lead happy and fulfilling lives as servants of the capital, and many were able to rise above their old roles and stations to become prominent and trusted members of Karzug's elite inner circle. Of them, none is more famous than Karzug's spiritual guide, Mesmina, the great oracle of Lissala. 2 years later, after the destruction of Malistoke, Karzug ordered the unsightly Great Scar of Malistoke, the crater left behind by its annihilation, covered. The Skull River was thus dammed, and its waters filled the basin of the crater, creating the Storval Deep. It is one of Thassalad's great wonders alongside the Cipher Gate of Riddleport. And the cabins make for a wonderful weekend getaway trip. Though defeated in combat and his city reduced to rubble, the Lich Zinlun's body and phylactery were unfortunately never found. Any truthful information as to his whereabouts, unalive or destroyed, can be reported to the High Office of Zinshalast for a hefty gold reward.
I feel like there's something missing here. Well, it would also be useful to know what this Lich looked like if you wanted more options for people Karzug was unhappy with.
Yeah, it's tough to do with a Lich. I don't know how specific you could get in your lich disguise?
There don't seem to be any portraits or anything of that, just these two models here. Asher, if you were looking around, it looks like there's more of Karzug's origin stories back here behind you.
Oh. The history. I wish to read more.
Would you like to know more?
I would like to know more. I will click to learn more.
You turn and seeing these two other displays behind you, their contents are too damaged to see what the actual display is featured, but the placards are still readable enough. The one you're at right now reads or is labeled Karzug, or Young Karzug, Apprentice of the Demon Binder. And it starts with, after escaping Malistoke, Karzug found himself in need of a new patron. It was in the neighboring town that he encountered the charismatic Thurbel, Thurbel, a traveling demon binder of some renown. Wishing to develop his own spellcasting abilities, Karzug requested an apprenticeship with the wizard and was to his surprise, accepted. The two spent many years together traveling, but it was at some point during this relationship, I don't have a specific thing written out on this part, but it was at some point during this relationship that things took a dark turn. Karzug stayed with him for many years, but was increasingly used as bait for demons in many of these conjuration rituals. And though Karzug stayed on to develop his own powers as a wizard, both learning from Thurbel and learning from the demons and devils that they summoned, eventually he knew that his merits would not be realized here and began to seek a brighter future. And it seems to continue on the next one behind.
Well, I can certainly see how someone who went through all of this could lose sight of their compassion, humanity.
I don't.
Doesn't mean it's correct.
Asher moves on to the next one there. Here, the placard is somewhat damaged, but you're able to get some gists from it. It seems to describe Karzug finding out about a call for apprentices from the Runelord of Greed, Haframa. Karzug managed to escape this toxic relationship he was in. Managed to sabotage one of Thurbel's conjurations, sacrificing Thurbel's soul to a demon, and took Thurbel's wealth and set out for Zinshalast. It was there that he impressed the Runelord with his very well-taught, self-taught skills, and studied for many years under his tutelage. In the later years of Haframa's reign, he began to grow suspicious of Karzug and wanted to foster stronger competition, and brought on another apprentice, a skilled rival from a noble family named Vage. Vage was very jealous of Karzug and his ability, and the two of them held many duels, of which Vage lost a vast majority of them. It was during these late years as a Runelord that Karzug began to study unknown magics to Galarian, and utilizing this place's Shalast's closeness to the realm of dreams and nightmares. He sought out their denizens and made pacts with them, developed powerful eldritch spells under their tutelage, and used them to defeat the evil Vage and Haframa for good, disintegrating them and warping their ashes to a space between the planes, so they would never be able to return.
It's like what happened to Greshy, except the last part did not happen.
I was just thinking that.
Put you in a jar.
I still feel cold sometimes. I think the snow might be inside of me. I'm not sure.
Oh, I tried to melt it all away.
No. Did your best.
I put a scarf on it.
So this placard you said was damaged as well. Does it look like intentional damage, or is this also just aged?
This looks like maybe some kind of impact damage. The actual display has some like parts of rubble from the roof on it. Looks like just earthfall damage, probably.
Coincidental damage.
Yeah.
Okay.
The damage is mostly
I
on
heard
like small
Frama
incidental
and
words.
damaged and went, Okay. And these
I'm
other
about ready to move on, but
well, what about these beings, these creatures you learn eldritch spells from? Do we know anything about those? I mean, I don't think I've heard of anything like that. Or we haven't seen anything. Well, they're the blood spiders, not the blood spiders. Crimson walkers?
Crimson Walkers.
Those were from someplace else, weren't they?
Yes, I think so.
Do you think it's more of those, or do you think he's got other friends? They didn't seem very smart. Hard to say, though. They didn't speak common, so... Well,
You have to
is
be
this...
smart to be friends?
No kidding.
You went over to the next set.
Over to the east side of the room.
The northeast side of the room. These seem to be... these are also fairly damaged, but are about Karzug's exploits in the war against Bakra Khan and Alasnus, the Runelord of Wrath. Let me see, what things are you able to glean from this? From these, they seem to be kind of like a historical recollection of various battles that took place. The names of places don't really mean much to you because you don't know any of them. But you are able... Let's see, where's my notes on that? It seems as if Karzug himself frequently showed up on the battlefield himself. And many of the battles that are listed seem to have a like how to word it. Some of them have like an attack and a retreat, and then a second. These are like Karzug attacking Alasnus, retreating very quickly, adjusting his plans, and coming back with some new strategy. You get the sense from these that Karzug is very, I guess, adaptable in that sense. There's some where, there's some sieges listed where Alasnus seemed to attack with some army on one day, began some siege with some troop of forces. Karzug was maybe initially unprepared and then showed up the next day with some spell tailored to their defeat. All of these seem to imply that There's a lot of like Karzu saved the day by coming in the next day with some new set of spells.
More spells from unknown locations.
Perhaps
Not
he at that point had the. I mean, we
I was gonna say
found
not
this-
not
we found-
unknown
yeah.
locations necessarily. Just he's clearly a wizard. He re-prepares his spells
Sure,
on the
but
daily.
these weren't new spells then. These were actually spells he knew and just happened to pick the right ones just for the circumstance that he knew he needed to deal with.
Okay,
Yes.
so it sounds like he's a wizard and not a sorcerer, is what we're saying.
Sure, and he's
Yes.
very well prepared. He's possibly able to adapt more on the fly than I can. Which is to say, I can't, so... Maybe not same day, but tactically speaking, he
Well-
seems to be pretty
They sing
reasonably prepared. if he has noticed.
these placards sing the praises of his ability to prepare for combat.
And he's known roughly who we are for quite some time. So expect him to have pretty well chosen his spells
Counters.
against us.
Mhm. How do we
The-
counter ourselves, and how do we counter the things that counter ourselves?
There's one specific one that would jump out to you. One of the later battles listed where it states that there was a face-off between him and a Lasnist, and he seemed to turn the battle suddenly by seemingly stopping all time itself.
I see what the game is. Okay. Time magic is transmutation, I think, a lot of times.
Oh, really?
It is.
Hmm.
So if he has the ability to slow everything down or speed himself up, he will have some time to... Well, some time to prepare on the fly, should he need to.
Got it.
Not going to be able to change out spells, obviously, but can cast things to defend against
Mhm.
certain abilities, that sort of thing. It may, if he does it the moment we walk in the door, I do not know how well the outfit will work, but it might throw him off his game just enough that he doesn't try it right through the door. I don't know if he's going to stop us and then run up and stab us or what, but
The other advantage of illusions would be that we could disguise who's who among us. If we all look the same, we could potentially move around and stop him from being able to target his spells at the correct person.
that's a great point, in fact. Does he have... I guess, if we can ensure that he doesn't have true sight, because that would be the only thing that would make that plan moot. But
You can look at
Even
the... There's a couple of spells that are listed here, or like kind of vague descriptions of spells that are listed here that he like saved the day with. One of them sounds like a meteor swarm. One of them sounds like some kind of magical wall to divide forces and conquer them. One of them talks about transmuting an enemy general into a statue. And one
Flesh
speaks
stone.
of summoning a draconic legion.
that's pretty impressive and concerning if he can bring a whole legion down. So, meteor swarm, some sort of invisible wall, some ability to stop time, a flesh to stone.
I need to get within 60 feet to be able to attempt to counter conjurations. But
I think we're going to be trying to keep this close and personal.
yep, that's the sorry, that's the rule of thumb for battling a wizard anyway. Get in their face.
It's true.
And that, yeah.
Well, Asher,
that's
do you
the-
see anything else in here
battle.
you wanted to look at?
Did want to look at the
Just hit all displays real quick then.
well, the statues, the giant statues, and the what I assume are the Wrath laser towers. But I want to know more.
Yep, you make your way over to that display, and you see it's kind of a brief description, but it speaks of Karzug's towering sentinels doing battle against Elasnist's what do they call? She calls them like wrath funnels or something. Do I know what they're called? Can't find it. You might have already heard the name before. I don't remember.
Hellstorm Flumes?
Hellstorm Flume. Yes, there we go. Yeah, they're there. Hellstorm Flumes. They're described as the latest technology of Elasnist, utterly crushed by Karzug's incredible forces. The statue, the head of it, looks very similar to the kind of stone island of Thistletop. Which I believe is something that you might have already known as well. The goblin,
Yes, I think I did know that.
yeah, the goblin fortress in book 1.
Makes sense. That's. We also, I mean, we had a map, I think, at some point of some markings that seemed to suggest different
Yeah,
ones of the sort.
Yeah, you had a map of the Hellstorm Flume locations, and one of them seemed to be
So
the old
that would
light.
make sense then.
Yeah, they seem to be these big towers that shoot fire lasers. If the display is to be believed.
Not anymore, hopefully.
Hopefully not.
Well, at least not to us. But at least we also know that that's not a Karzug thing. That's a Wrath.
Elasnist thing, yeah.
Thank you, Elasnist. Huh?
I forget. Did I say what was in this one?
I don't remember. But there's nothing. That's
It's just
cool.
empty.
Okay. Well, then that one, if I didn't say what that was, I'll say it now, and it might have changed. This one seems to be, there's a stand for something to like kind of lay across, possibly like a staff or a sword or something like that. But you read the display placard and, so there's nothing there. It's empty. You read the display placard and it reads, as soon as I find the journal tab and find my journal entry on it, it reads Chellin, the Blade of Greed, and that's Chellan. One of the Alara High, translatable as either the Seven Swords of Sin or the Seven Blades of Conviction. Forged by the Runelords themselves, the strength of these blades is linked directly to the Runelords' power. The original dream of Shalast, as put forth by Caladrine, was the pursuit of the ability to permanently transmute lead into gold. The completion of that glorious milestone paved the way to more challenging feats of transmutation. One such feat was the birth of Chellin, the woman of living gold, who was birthed at the Runeforge under the watchful eye of Zinshalast's top wizards and arcanists. She excelled in all things, art, dance, song, magic, and swordsmanship, and eventually came to be one of Shalast's most storied heroes. The sword which came to bear her name was originally forged as a gift for her upon her ascension to the station of the Grand General of the Zinshalast army. She was said to be a calculating woman and very fanatical about Zinshalast's ideals, and came to be seen as the shining star of Shalast. However, her time of shining lasted but a short 5 years, as the magics animating her body rapidly declined. Finally, in the year -6440 AR, the shining star burned out on the battlefield. It is said that those who hold the blade can still hear her melodic voice, inspiring them to be merciless in combat. Chellin herself is a scimitar made entirely of gold that has been treated with transmutation magic to make it stronger than adamantine. Those who are struck by the blade are transformed into crystalline statues, turning the battlefield into an eerily beautiful statue gallery. Return in the summer to see our Crystals of Chellin exhibit in the main hall, featuring the crystal bodies of those foolish enough to stand against the might of Shalast.
Ah, how terrifying.
The space there where there's no sword is actually more terrifying to me, for what it's worth.
Sword.
Hmm.
Where
Oh,
did it go?
It's described as a replica, so what was in here was
Okay,
a replica of the sword.
So it's not even there. The replica's gone too. Okay.
Correct.
I'm assuming Karzuk just has it somewhere.
It would make sense. I mean, he'd hold on to that.
I would hold on to it.
Well. So he's got a sword that can turn people into statues. So I'm
Right.
prepared for that.
Ooh.
Yeah, good to know.
Great. What do you see next, Asher? Anything?
Well, I just see this giant. I saw this thing in the middle, but this big
Oh, this big display here in the
big
south
display in the
center.
south. Yeah.
Yeah, the big display in the center south. This one, the central, the big display is kind of broken, and there's like some rock rubble on top of it. It looks like it's another one of these kind of like small figurine displays, perhaps of a battlefield. And let me get back to my notes here a quick sec. Here, Karzug, the battle name placard is destroyed or stolen. Actually, yeah, it's missing. There's like a dark spot on the stone platform that this thing's sitting on, where the placard seems to have been taken, or like the name placard seems to be taken, but the description still mostly remains. And one of Karzug's many triumphant battles, he rides atop his favored blue dragon, and descends upon the foolish armies of Alasnist. Pictured here with his giant generals in tow, Karzug rends his foes with a brilliant display of destructive transmutation magic.
Same blue dragon that we know.
I was going to ask, is this a different one?
You're
Probably
not
not.
sure. The name,
I guess it could be.
the name isn't listed of the blue dragon, and you can't really see the display seems to be like crushed.
Oh, sure.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I
it's
guess
gone.
Dragons don't typically live for 5,000 years or 10,000.
10,000.
But then again, neither do humans. So
True. But it's been 10,000 years since this would have happened.
yeah, that's true.
Nothing that Glorifex said implied that he had been along or that he'd ever met Karzuk in person. And I believe you you said some things to him that might have prompted him to say something if he had, in fact, met Karzug.
That's true. So Karzug has an affinity for blue dragons, it sounds like. Because he had one back then, he's got Glorifex, or had Glorifex until we took care of him twice. There's a decent chance to assume that, especially with him summoning a Draconic Legion, that'll be more. So, more lightning protection.
Yep. All right. We definitely have found a lot to think about.
You need to ground the dragon too.
So much more.
Lots of options, lots of ideas.
It's not that we've gotten any weaknesses that we've discovered, but we've certainly discovered some of his tendencies.
Well, perhaps it's not the weaknesses in him that we needed to find, but the weaknesses in ourselves.
Deep.
Sure, but also, he's going to be trying to attack us at our weak point, so if we know what we're weak at, we can protect there.
Yep.
So, anything else you wanted to look at, Asher?
I will just keep looking at everything, just as I did in the library, until somebody stops me looking at things.
Well, I mean,
If I ask the
stopping me?
GM out of character if there's more information to be had in here if you want to keep reading, is there more information to be had in here if you want to keep reading, or?
Yeah, I mean, I can skimmerize if you guys want to spend like another hour in here. Asher can go through reading the remaining stuff to see if there's anything of interest.
I'll try and hang
I'll
between
certainly do it.
him and
Sure.
Gunn so that they can both see. Well, I guess Asher can see anyway.
mhm.
Okay. So yeah, you spend
Have Asher
like
wander
another
about.
hour with Asher.
Yeah.
I mean, whoever wants to, you can all kind of go around and look at the various exhibits. You've found a bulk of the very interesting stuff. Other things that are noted is that his army is commanded by rune giant generals. The most powerful of which were like hand trained or like hand picked and trained up by him personally. And that they used their powerful rune magic to enslave the giant tribes and force them to do their bidding. Let's see, what else do you... there's an exhibit that seems to be about the flourishing of Zin Shalast under Karzug's rule. How he stripped away a lot of regulation, and kind of allowed unfettered greed to accumulate, but also tried to foster a very strong meritocracy sort of thing. Being a former slave
so
himself, yeah, kinda. Being a former slave himself, he certainly made like a pathway from slavery to citizenship available to people. And many of his top officials ended up being ex-slaves, but he never seemed to have, judging from what you read, he never seemed to have actually outlawed slavery, which can tell you something else about him. The stuff about his management of the city seems a little bit micromanaging. From what you read, there's a lot of it sounding like him doing things personally that maybe you would have other people do, but either he's taking credit for other people's work directly, or he's personally getting involved with things like taxes and management of the treasury, and also his army work and whatnot. He seems to be a very, very, very busy guy.
Very
Let's
vain.
see. You do find one one mention of an apprentice by the name of Khalib, Khalib. This seems to be Karzug's only singular trusted apprentice, that he never had more than one apprentice at a time, unlike his predecessors. But you don't, there's no, it's kind of just like a side note in one of the other placards. It's not, they don't really go into much detail on who Khalib is. He's just mentioned as being apprentice Khalib. And I think that's the bulk of it. Yeah, he had a war with Olasnus for a very long time, and towards the end of any date timeline that you see, he had some kind of peace treaty with Belimarius, the Runelord of Envy, and used their funds to help build the what seems to be the Cipher Gate in Riddleport, the big ring in the water, using some assistance from the this is the other spot where the denizens of the plane of dreams and nightmares are mentioned, that they aided in the construction of the Cipher Gate. I'm calling it the Cipher Gate because that's what it's called in current day, but it's not, I don't think it has a name in Thessalonian times.
Just some strange gates or circle.
Yeah, I guess it would be called, it might just be called the Great Gate of whatever that city was called at the time. But it's just listed as one of the wonders of Zin Shalast alongside the Storval Dam. One of his many, and the Storval Stairs, I think, are also one of the big Karzug architectural projects that he embarked upon. Many of these seem to have been built by giants on his behalf.
This city was supposed to be the shared capital, right? Not only the greed capital?
No, I think Zin,
No.
wasn't it just Zin?
Zin was the guy.
Zin was the
He was also
guy.
the city.
I don't remember if Zin himself had a city. I could probably check. The de facto.
Not
I believe
the
the
Green
capital
City.
of it was named Zin when he was the ruler.
I
at
think
the time.
I think so. This city was
Okay,
built
so
by.
Zinchalas was just the greed.
Yes, it was just the greed fiefdom.
Okay.
It seems like the de facto capital of Thassalon for quite a while was Zin Cyrusian, the Pride city, or Pride zone. They had the most stable Runelord, they had the most stable government. They seem to, have just generally stayed out of a lot of the wars and things. So
Gotcha.
I think they also have the largest territory.
City-states.
Yes, though they commanded very large swaths of territory with lots of smaller cities underneath them. This is just the capital of Shalast, the country, or the sub-country.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay. For some reason, I thought that the place where the mountain was like the original city.
No. There's a big likeness of Zin carved into the face of Maharmasif, possibly by Zin at the time, but the full city didn't get founded until Caladerne built it, which wasn't too long after. I think the point was that Zin was like, we need to build up around here. I'm gonna find my 7 coolest apprentices. You each get a rune. Go at it. And they all started with virtues and then corrupted themselves into anti-virtues.
Yep. Okay.
And then they assassinated him, or he blew himself up. Counter assassination.
A little column A, column B. A little both.
Yep.
Oh.
I think that's the bulk of information you'd get just from exploring around and skimming through the remaining exhibits in the museum. This central chamber is kind of the most well kept. The remainders are pretty loose and damaged. And you can't even get into the western tower. Or sorry, the eastern tower. It's just completely collapsed.
We have some things to ponder for sure.
A long walk to ponder.
All right, I'm gonna look for
Shall we
the
start walking?
switch to open the door, so we can start walking, as Gunn says.
Sure. Yeah, you dig around for the switch, find it, open the stairwell.
We just teleport straight through the stairs.
It's
like
like right on
Skyrim.
top of the the rune on the floor.
Yes.
I assume
The thing we've very much so avoided walking on.
paranoidly walking around the big carpet in the middle of the lower chamber. As you're
Despite
walking,
knowing that it's not trapped and not magical at all.
that's
I
fine.
don't care about it.
I won't stop you. You all carefully walk around it and into the tunnel and onward, starting to make your way up the mountain. Let me put you here for a moment. Okay. Let me put you guys near me, so let me hide you. Put you dudes over here.
Do do do. Do 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 do.
Not sure what this little... that's tiny Phelan. Alright. Okay. So, you guys start to make your way through the tunnel. Do you guys do anything on the way? How are you progressing? You're just walking full speed,
Exploration.
hustling.
I'm not walking. I'm sprinting straight ahead, just not even looking to one side or the other.
I am walking, which is about as fast as Greshy's sprint.
Excuse me. I'm actually quite light now that I've lost a bit of weight.
That's true.
I've lost like half my weight, in fact, and good foot of height.
The tunnel itself is very, very wide. It was as wide as it was on that map that we were just on, that I didn't measure. It's about 30 to 40 feet in various places wide. The walls are pretty rough, but the ceiling and floor are fairly smooth. The floor feels kind of like a loose cobblestone, in places gravelly and others. The ceiling seems to be kind of like worked, and there are steel beams propping it up to make sure it doesn't collapse. But otherwise, there's only occasional permanent torches placed throughout the tunnel. So every so often you can kind of see another pair of these green torches lighting up the path. Oftentimes you come up to a corner is where they tend to be placed. But sorry, yeah, how are you proceeding?
I think we'd probably be cautious for a couple of minutes, but then at a certain point when it seems like the tunnel is very, very long, it's more like, unless there's anything that looks obviously damaged or suspicious, probably just proceed at normal walking speed, hiking.
I was just going to check. I think that search requires us to slow down, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Then
search would require a slowdown. Okay. So yeah,
Yeah, I think we'll just keep going.
Okay. So you kind of search for like the first 5 minutes as you make your way through the tunnels, and as you start to get more comfortable, you loosen up a bit and start to just progress at normal walking speed, which is question mark. What's your walking speed?
45 is mine. I think Gunn is currently our slowest at 30, 35?
35.
40.
5. So 35 is the current.
Sorry,
slowest then.
40 was Asher? Okay.
Yeah. Greshy is the fastest. Greshy's
See?
going.
So I've also got Long Strider on, which
Can
helps.
hustle a while
Yeah,
to keep up.
I have long strider.
That's true. You can
Long
hustle.
Strider.
How long can you hustle for? Before fatigue?
10 minutes.
Hustle is 10 minutes plus. Is it 10 per con? 10 times con?
Oh, I think it's just 10 minutes is hustle. I don't
No,
think
it
there's con factors
there is a
into it, does it?
multiplier, but it's a Constitution modifier.
Oh,
times
con
10.
mod times 10. Ah, I see.
Okay, so yeah, I can hustle for like an hour practically. 40 minutes at least.
I mean, that's fine with me. So
There was
if
less
we're
people, so-
hustling, are we all gonna try and hustle, or do we just
No,
want to have you hustle and we'll just go regular?
I'll just try to keep up.
Okay. So after that, so for 5 minutes we're going to be searching at half speed. Then at 45 for 40 more minutes we're going to be going at 45 foot around or foot an action, which I never remember travel speed.
I've got the travel speeds up.
Okay, there you go.
2 feet.
Hustle
Okay.
would double your speed. I don't need to double my speed. I just need to add a little bit. So
I don't know if you'll. Well, maybe not.
I mean, for the extended period of time, the 35 feet isn't versus the 40 is not going to make a huge difference.
mhm.
So like the speed walk
That's
yo-yo
true.
is probably not super necessary here.
That's true,
very
that's
true.
Okay,
How'd you get your
I just
exercise
wanted to have like the general sense of time. So it's like 18,500-ish feet per minute, and it's less difficult terrain than if you were going up, or not per minute, per hour. So you can go like 3-ish mile, 3.5 miles, 3-ish miles if we're going. Okay.
Now you've got to measure
I
each of these
torture.
switchbacks.
Yeah, I have to measure each of these switchbacks. Let's see. So it's
You've done this to yourself.
yeah, I know. I did this to myself. Everybody at
You made
home
this
is like,
very lovely, like
Jason,
wrapping
why
around
did you-
curve.
why did you do this? So what did I say? It's like 18,000 feet. Ah, fuck. I'm too zoomed in. Okay. That's there.
That's like 9,000.
There. Is that? Oh, it's 1,800. Oh, sorry, I can't read. That's 97. That's 12,000. 13,000. 14,000. 15,000. 16,000. Jason, why are you such a simulationist, you dummy? Just let the party.
Why wouldn't they just make a straight road right up the mountain?
Just hand wave the time, they say. But I have to do it to scale because I hate everything. Let's say you get here. Okay. In 1 hour. Can somebody move the the party token over here? Thank you.
There you go. Hurrah.
Okay. So yeah,
So that was 1 hour.
Yeah, that was 1 hour.
It's getting dark.
Yeah, it's starting to get a little bit dark. And it's actually around here that you reach an interesting point. There's a as you're kind of climbing a sort of steep incline vertically, and up ahead you can see snow drifting into the tunnel. And you could actually before this you could feel the I guess the wind rushing through the tunnel. So you can tell the tunnel is about to exit soon. And as you're climbing this steep incline, you can actually see it seems to be exiting out onto some some kind of cliffside, perhaps.
All right. We should probably slow down and kind of sneak. Maybe Asher, could you? Do you mind stealth and scouting that out a bit? Making sure not walking into an ambush or something.
Let me go poke my little head out
Okay.
into the dark.
With your ranger eyes.
Oh, I forgot I made a map for that. Let me do this.
Made a map just for Asher's ranger eyes.
I will
Kinda.
see.
Where's my tokens? I'll put you all on the corner of this map here, and then pull you in. Oop, that's the second one. Greshy, Gunn. Rock isn't here yet. Okay. Let me do something like this. Okay. Asher.
It's me.
Activate. There we go. Okay. You guys are kind of off map a little bit. I guess it's night, huh? This should be lighting controls. Dark. Hello, darkness.
My old friend.
Sure. Asher, you can see up ahead, it looks like the tunnel continues just a ways up ahead. There's a steep fall here to the south. So the tunnel opens up on a very wide, I guess, flat area of the mountain. And yeah, there's a steep sheer is what I was looking for. A sheer cliff to your left. I was thinking sheer and steep at the same time.
I totally understood how it got to sheep though from sheer.
And sheer, true. Okay, yes.
That's where I went.
There's a sheepy cliff to your left. Down below, there's just kind of a bank of kind of low fog, and chilling out, but it's kind of resting over the city. And to your right is the continued cliffside up above, which I believe leads towards the Rising District. There's ahead of you in the path, there's just kind of a lot of small bits of rocks and rubble, probably from past landslides and things. But yeah, you can see up ahead, there's a small entrance. Looks like the tunnel presumably continues over there.
How's the light?
That was the light? Alright. That was the light. I can't see a damn thing.
Don't worry.
Um,
We should go the most cliff side. Well, not the down cliff, the up cliff. Greshy. Alright, I'll help lead you to the more...
I can kind of see where you're at, so
Yeah. Hi.
so you lead the
Right behind
party.
you.
Follow
but-
my whispers.
Yeah, you lead the party out of the tunnel towards the cliffside. Sorry, the
Is there anything that I can see that's up?
up above you.
Like anything
give me-
up there?
Give me a perception check as you lead everybody up to the cliff wall. Secret perception check, please.
I'm looking. Jason's.
You're looking at what?
I'm seeing this line here, and I'm like, I'm looking at the view that's on your screen, on the camera screen.
Oh, what can the camera say? Oh, I see.
Oh, just this
Sure.
line up there. Yeah, I'm like, that seems interesting. That's
Okay,
nothing, I'm sure.
Asher, you look up and you, along the cliffside, you can see what looks like maybe the root of a tree, or some kind of plant sticking out of the cliffside here. You can also see some kind of small ledges where like snow has, or water perhaps, has dripped from the side of the cliff and has formed these like big deposits of ice. They're basically like big ice stalagmites that have formed up here on the cliff. There's a couple up above. There's like they're quite large. They're bigger than you. But in particular, give me just a sec. What was your... Okay. Yeah, you can see that one of those icicles is not like the others. In fact, the biggest one in the center seems to have very slow moving... they look like tree roots behind it. It's hard to tell in the dark since you can only see in black and white. But there's these faint, like kind of wiggling vines, perhaps. They're either vines or roots or something of that nature. They're moving very, very slowly. And they seem to be coming out of perhaps the back of the icicle.
Moving with the wind, or are they moving in a weird way?
Without the wind.
Yeah, without the wind.
The wind is pretty mild right now, and the way they're moving suggests a creature, not the wind.
Okay.
They're moving in a kind of weird undulating way.
Turn to their group and say, I think there's some creature up there, up that big icicle. I don't know what it is.
Well, two options. We could try to sneak past, but it seems to be expecting something to sneak past. Or we could try to go up and confront it.
Is it expecting someone to sneak past? I really can't tell.
If it's
I can't see it.
stationed here,
Well, I guess I'm asking Asher, does it look like a golem or like a construct or creature of some sort? Or is it like an animal?
Can I squint more to try and see what it is? Now that I see where it's moving.
Sure. It would be... This is an identification, perhaps. Let me look at your skills. Roll me a secret D20 if you can.
Secret.
Oh, you can change the roll to...
maybe I'll poke Asher and mime putting on the goggles.
Goggles? I have the goggles on.
Plus that.
The other one? I have other goggles?
At the remote.
Oh, the
headset.
remote headset. Yeah,
Yes.
that's on already. I could look at
Asher's wearing all the gear on his head at this point.
I have several goggles. Just
He's got goggles and he's wearing a visor.
he looks very strange.
It's like steampunk meets sci-fi.
Can you wear the visor over the goggles?
No,
Would
it's
that
the
work?
same time. You'd have to swap them out.
Maybe I should use the visor.
Asher, you're kind of looking at it. It's hard to see, and you can't quite tell what it is. But it seems like it's either some kind of maybe really big.
What's going on?
See,
Either.
Either one of it's either some kind of plant creature, or it might be an aberration. You're not sure if those things are tentacles or if they're vines. But either way, it seems like some
it's
kind
really
of
hard to see.
monstrosity, perhaps.
I don't like that.
Do you share that?
Can I borrow your headset?
Yes, I do share that. You want my headset? Asher will hand his headset.
Okay.
Hold on. Can I just... Is there a hand button?
And to be clear to Asher, this creature did not look like it was man-made or person-made, but it was natural. Well, not natural, but some sort of monstrosity that occurs otherwise.
I think so.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay. Well, Gunn, it sounds like it's going to
Yeah.
take a look-see, so please
Well,
do.
I'll say I'll hand it to you.
You don't have to give me the whole item. I'm just going to use it and then hand it back.
Well, you have to invest in it.
You do? I thought it was like a wand.
Nope. All right, it is, but it has an invest thing.
Well, if it's got the invested tag, then it's invested.
Oh,
Is it not supposed to have this?
Is it not supposed? Let me check. I don't remember what I.
Yeah, it has the rare divination invested magical.
Yes, it's invested. Is it invested? One sec. Resources. Did I put the headset in here? Was that when I made it? Yes, it is invested. Because it's both spells, yeah.
Then I can't do it today.
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
I can, of course. I can use it. So
Oh,
if we're gonna
well,
use it for
of
that,
course.
yeah, I can.
Yep.
Well, no, I have to. Oh,
But then you won't be able to see. because
where are
it'll be
my goggles?
dark.
Oh
Maybe
yeah,
the-
I can't even see it because it's dark.
Maybe the remote vision includes some form of letting you.
I was just trying to remember
Things.
that. It's, Oh, jeez. Spell names.
I mean, like scrying. Not scrying.
It's not scrying, it's,
Yeah, these are
Clairvoyance.
too.
Thank you, clairvoyance. I was like, clairvoyance, clairaudience, but clairvoyance...
Clairvoyance let you see things that are.
No.
As if using your normal visual senses.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, if you're getting dark vision from goggles, it wouldn't. Yeah, I don't think that would help you.
All right, so it is useless here.
Well.
You
If
could
it's
listen to
not-
it.
I could listen to it, see what it's just snoring or something.
Well, that's actually... I mean, I don't know if you want to use... Well, what time is it? See if it's snoring.
7. Yeah. I'll
If-
see if it's snoring.
If you can hear it breathe, then that also tells us that it's a more natural creature, which would be helpful. And if it's snoring, then we can sneak by easier.
Plant versus aberration, which
snoring.
I would say the aberration is more likely to breathe.
True. True that.
Okay. So you're casting clairaudience then?
What does it
You-
sound like?
Where it is.
Yeah, you pull down the headphones, activate it, and close your eyes and listen to the area close to the creature. And you hear very, very soft, what almost sounds like whispering, like just like kind of a constant stream.
That
of...
was not soft.
I don't know what gets picked up. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I apologize, audio listeners. Yeah, you can hear just like soft whispering, or I mean maybe loud. Okay, sure. If you're that you put the audio thing right onto it, it sounds really loud, and you realize you're very close to it. Probably
Ooh.
wherever its like mouth or whatever is. It
What
seems to be
language is this?
whispering in some language. Let me look at your languages. Give me a
Certainly don't.
society. Give me a society check.
Ooh.
Ooh.
God, I love that dubious knowledge, though, don't we?
Here. It'll be a secret one.
Sure.
Don't do that. Because I could in fact roll a 1 and just be so confident I know what it is.
Yeah, you've heard it a little bit before. It seems to be Aklo, which
Oh, that's
You
an
would-
aberration.
yeah, you would immediately know as like the language of aberrant creatures from beyond the veil.
Well, now we know. Oh my goodness. Well, now we know that.
Denizens of dreams and nightmares?
Probably not sleeping. Let's go up and around.
Up where? Just like around the.
You want to climb up the rock face?
Who said climb?
Oh,
Oh, we're.
I gotcha. It's gonna be loud if I do it, though. We're gonna need to move fast.
If you do what? Stormwind flight?
Spell casting is verbal.
Okay.
Well, this spell is a verbal spell, and any spell casting is probably going to be verbal. And even if you're not talking loudly, there's a resonance with your voice when you use spells.
Well, there's a couple of options, actually. First is we could blast it from here with some long-range powers. Second is we could mount up onto rock and fly above it.
Just for note, it is close to like 90 to 100 feet up the cliff above you.
Mhm.
That's good to know, actually.
And then how much above that does the cliff still go?
The cliff itself continues another like 200 feet.
So it's about a third of the way up the cliff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, that means there's room to go above it, but also not go above onto the surface. To not be seen from other outside areas.
I hate to say this, Gunn. Can you even see this to be making that determination?
The cliff?
Yeah.
Sure.
Can you?
Gunn has
He's got
dark
dark
vision
vision.
now.
Oh, you do. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm
yes,
dumb.
the tables have turned.
I was thinking that it was. I was like, Asher's the one with always dark vision, and Gunn and I are now screwed. But now it's the other way around. Even better.
Yes.
Well, that's great. That means that you can actually lead me. Because I was about to be like, I'm just gonna sit here and wait for you all to figure this out.
Is there so can it see if we like hugged the cliff? Could it see like straight down and be like ah, or is it like kind of jutted out?
I'm guessing it would drop all that ice on us.
Yeah, throw things at us.
It have to
You-
cease first.
You don't
Yeah.
see its eyes, so you're not sure where it would look from. But you could certainly try to just stealth along the. Like that's certainly like the easiest way to try and slip past it would be to just sneak underneath. If you were quiet or quick, you could get past it.
Could do that. We could fly.
Scroll of Dimension Door for Greshy. We just picked up. To the opposite side.
Let me see what the rules are in terms of being able to know where I'm going, but I like that idea a lot. That actually might be it. Dimension door.
I have the dimension door.
This is the 5th level.
Yeah,
One,
the
two.
scroll that we just got was 5th level.
I do not need to be able to see it, but I have to have been there in the past, or I have to be able to see it.
You can see the other side.
Yeah, you
I cannot see to
He
the
can't.
Oh, you can't. No. Ah! Got me.
The tables have turned right back around.
They have
What?
turned again. This is a game of Uno here.
That said, Asher can cast it.
I can.
It's an arcane spell.
Gresh could take the.
I can't take the goggles, but Asher can see, because you didn't uninvest the goggles, correct? You just moved to the visor. Well, you didn't even use the visor, so you still have your goggles on.
Right.
What do you think, Asher?
Well, if it just transports me, then what?
Yeah, Dimension Door is.
It's not like we can all walk in it.
That's true.
Trees tried? Probably no trees around here.
And no idea where we coming
Okay.
back out at.
Asher, Dimension Door to the other side, turns into a tree.
This seems like all right.
Wait, what tree are you gonna walk into then?
I turn into a tree on this side. You turn into a tree on the other side, and then that way goes
Right.
through.
We have 2 people, and then we have Greshy.
It's like that fox and the chicken and the grain, and you gotta take them across and back. But I think sneaking underneath is a good idea. Yeah,
Do you like
I think
having ice dropped on your head?
I feel confident in my sneaking. I admit
Fair
I'm
enough.
less confident in your sneaking gun, but you're doing better now, right? You've got some ways to mitigate that, I think.
Passable.
Possible.
You can also follow an expert.
Pass.
If somebody's
I need to
at
remember
least
how follow
in-
the expert goes.
If somebody's at least an expert in stealth, you can let them take the lead.
Well, that would require one of us to be an expert in stealth, and
Yeah,
I
I'm
guess
not
who's
an
not going to
expert.
be that? Any of us.
Whoops.
I invested in thievery for some reason. It's almost like I grew up stealing on the streets. I don't know.
Don't worry. Somehow I'm an expert in deception.
Well, you're in a book.
I read
Good
a book and I'm an expert, despite being the least deceptive.
You learn deception so you can pick out deception, I'm sure. That's all.
I'm a better bird now. So
Rock
Okay.
is decent at stealth.
that's good.
So you could try
Um,
riding him, you think?
Yeah, I think we could try flying. And plus, that way, even if we are heard or seen, we're, above the creature. Potentially out of its reach. Although it seems to have pretty good reach if it's grabbing all of those ices at once.
I have no idea. I cannot see the thing. So I'm taking your word for it.
Well, there's a whole
But,
shelf up there.
Okay. And just to confirm again, the cliff is pretty sheer, or are we talking like, is it kind of angled a bit in one direction or the other?
It's angled a bit in the direction of the cliff. Not
Okay,
as
so it's a-
sheer as it looks here, but not as sideways.
It's steep, but
I've
it's
taken some
very
liberties.
steep, but it's not. Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
But it's very steep, not readily climbable. But it also means that we can't really hide under the ridge there.
Oh, you could climb it
It would
if you
still be able
wanted.
to see it's pretty.
It's pretty rocky, so it's actually relatively easy to climb.
Climbing around it doesn't seem like a good idea to me, to be honest. Well, I can give us all fly, and we can just get there. But we're running at that point.
If we fly, we can fly on the far side this way, and also up nearer to the top of the cliff, and just maintain a distance.
Well, we should probably get moving quick. It's getting damn cold out here.
Yeah, let's do that then.
So
Okay.
I will cast fly on everyone then.
Well,
Going to use
we'll
elemental
start that.
gift.
We'll start that next time, I think, because it's 10:30.
Next time,
Yeah, next time. There's going to be a next time.
I want to fly.
Sure,
I
but
want to fly next.
I want to fly, Jason. I want to fly.
You've talked about flying. Now you can
I
think
figured we'd
about
either
whether or not you'll fly.
Well, consider flying again a bit more, and we'll come back to it.
Yes.
Really hard.
All right. Thank you all for joining us. Sorry, this is a slightly awkward place to end it, but I figured before any plans actually get in motion, it's probably a good time to call it here.
That's fair. I figured
alright.
we'd either end on roll for initiative or entering the tunnel.
This is one of those things where I might have you roll for initiative. I'm not sure, but I'll probably have you roll for initiative right after
Seems
you
like an
cast fly.
encounter.
Yeah, it's an encounter. So
Sure.
Initiative is about to be rolled.
Yeah.
We'll figure that out next week. It may not be a combat itself, but it may be it's still an encounter of some kind. So anyway,
Cool.
bye everybody. Leave. Go. Get out of here. Have a blessed
All right,
evening.
Bueller.
Praise be
What are you still
to
doing here?
Karzug. Good night.